Hello everybody, here's Muhammad Imran. You're watching Linguistics and Literature with Imran. In this lecture, we will talk about morphology. So we will discuss what is morphology and what is morpheme. We will also define and discuss the notion of a word in English. So we will discuss what is a simple and what is a complex word. We will also learn about words token and words type. And at the end of this lecture, we will discuss what is lexeme. So let's discuss our today's topic, that's about English morphology. So, what is morphology? Morphology is the study of word formation. So the first part of this definition says how words are formed in a language. This study is called morphology. This also includes the ways new words are coined in languages of the world. We also study in morphology how new words are coined in a language. So this is the second part of this definition. While the third part says the way form of words are vary depending on how they are used in sentences, because one word can have different forms. For example, we have a word that is suppose play. So one of the form of the word play is plays. Other one is playing. The third one is played, right? So we have different forms of a word. So we also studied that the way form of words are varied depending on how they are used in sentences. Because if you're using simple present tense, so you will use one form of the word. If you are using past tense, so you will use other form of the word. And if you are using the continuous form of a word, then you are using another form of a word, right? So we have different forms of a word. So this study is also called morphology. So then we have here this definition has three parts. First says how words are formed in a language, word formation process. Second, how new words are coined in language. This is second part, because we have new words, and with technological advancement, with the passage of time, new words are emerged in a language, right, in dictionary. So we also studied that how new words are coined from old lexemes we have in dictionary. And the third form says that the form of words are varied depending on how they are used in sentence. We have different forms of a word. So we will develop and we will discuss this notion on coming slide. What is a word? Someone might say that a word is a stitch of letters that occurs between blank spaces. For example, here we have one stitch of letters, someone, and here we have another stitch of letters, might. And there is a blank space between these two stitches of letter. So someone and might are considered in two words. But this definition might be objected or might be refuted by another person who think and who say that language is primarily to be spoken, not written. So someone else is bound to point out that words don't have to be written for us to know that they are words. And in spoken or sign language, there are no spaces or pause to delineate words, yet we know what they are. So when we speak, there is no pause. And when we speak, there is no blank space. And still we know what they are. So that's why that this definition has flaw, right? Here we have another definition to a word. Still, another person might at this point try to answer like this. A word is something small that means something. So a word is small and it has also a meaning. That's another definition, to which a devil's advocate might respond. So a devil's advocate is the person who forms continuous opinion on an argument and who is all the time opposing you. So a devil's advocate might respond, but what do you mean by something small? If you say small, how can you limit the definition of a small? right? What do you mean by the word small? So this is the point at which it becomes necessary to define a few specialized linguistic terms. Now you are going to learn what is a word, right? So here we have the first specialized linguistic term that is related to word. So we will be talking about morpheme. What is morpheme? Linguists define a morpheme as the smallest unit of language that has its own meaning. So we have two parts of this definition. First, morpheme is the smallest unit of language. And second, that morpheme has its own meaning. So simple words like giraffe, wiggle or yellow are morpheme. But so are prefixes like re and pre and the suffixes like is and So there is far more to be said about morpheme. So we will discuss more about morpheme on coming slide. On this slide, we will discuss word as a morpheme. Let us now define a word as one or more morpheme that can stand alone in a language. So word can be defined as a single morpheme, as a one morpheme or more than one morpheme. But that word should stand alone in a language, right? So words that consist of only one morpheme can be termed simple or simplex words. Words that are made of more than one morpheme are called complex. Okay, so on next slide we will discuss simple words and complex words. Remember that a word can have one morpheme or it can have more than one morpheme. So that is an accurate definition of a word, right? So here we have simple versus complex words. Example of simple words like we have giraffe, fraud, murmur, oops, just and pistachio. And here we have some example of complex words like a position, which is taken from a pose. So it consists of two morphemes. So we can say that a word consists of more than one morpheme is called complex word. And a word consists of a single morpheme is called a simple word. Like we have fraud, we have giraffe. So these are the example of simple words, right? Here we have intellectual, which is taken from intellect. Intellectual, two morphemes. So a complex word. And here we have crystallize, is taken from crystal, two morpheme and complex word. Here we have pre-wash, taken from wash, and here we have prefix, right? So pre-wash, complex word, example. And here we have repressive, it is taken from pressive, and there we have blackboard. So blackboard is also an example of complex word having two morpheme, black and board, blackboard, right? We now have a first pass at a definition of what a word is. So we have a first pass, but as we will see, we can be far more precise. So we will talk more about what a word is. Now we will discuss words and lexeme types and tokens. How many words occur in the following sentence? My friend and I walk to class together because our classes are in the same building and we dislike walking alone. Just count how many words are there. Yes? Yes. If you count each word and you say that there are 21 words, so your answer is correct. And again, if you count and you tell that there are 20 words, so your answer is also correct. And again, if you count and you tell me that there are 16 words, so again, your answer is correct. So it depends, okay, that what does a word mean to you. So now we will discuss that how we can say that there are 21 words. And how can we say that there are 20 words? And how can we say that there are 16 words? Let's discuss. Explanation of the previous example. You might have thought of at least two ways of answering this question and maybe more. On the one hand, you might have counted every item individually, in which case your answer would have been 21. So if you have counted individual word here, right, so you may say that there are 21 words. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. So if you have counted each word in this example or sentence, so you may say 21 words. On the other hand, you might have thought about whether you should count the two instances of "and" in the sentence as a single word and not as separate words. So here we have, for example, a word "and" is used 2 times. Here we have "and," right? And here we have also "and." So did you count "and" 2 times or 1 time? So if you have counted 2 times, then we have 21 words. And if you have counted "and" 1 time, then we have 20 words, right? We can see here. You might even have thought whether to count, we should start from here. So you might even have thought about whether to count "walk" and "walking" or "class" and "classes" as different words. After all, if you were not a native speaker of English and you needed to look up what they meant in dictionary, you would find one entry for each pair of words. So when you count words, you may count them in number of ways. So if you count these words like "classes," right, and "class" as one word, right, or here we have also "working" and "walk" as one word, so then you may have counted these words as 16 words. Then you are taking word as lexeme. So sometimes you may take word as lexeme, sometimes you may take word as types, and sometimes you may take word as token, right? Let's discuss this notion further. Word tokens and word types. Again, it is useful to have some special term for how we count words. Let's say if we are counting every instance in which a word occurs in a sentence, regardless of whether that word has occurred before or not, we are counting word tokens. So if you're taking word tokens, so then we have 21 words because you are counting each instance in this word, in this sentence. So then we have 21 words, right? If we count word tokens in the sentence above, so then we have 21, right? So we are taking as word tokens. If, however, we are counting a word once, no matter how many times it occurs in a sentence, so we are counting word types, right? So then if you go, because "and" it comes 2 times, so you are talking about then word types. So we have how many? We have at least 20 types of words here then, right? Because "and" here and "and" here are same, right? So they are not in types. So and then we can take one type of word. So then we have 20 words, right? Here we have another notion of a word, and that is lexemes. Counting this way, we count 20 types in the sentence above. So as a type, we have 20 words in this example, right? So here we have 20 words, right, as a type, because we have different types of word. "My" is a different type of word, "friend" is a different one, "and" is a different. So here "and" are same. So we count them as a single type. Now, the 2 tokens of a word "and" counts as one type. A still different way of counting word would be of count what we are called lexemes. Now we will be talking about lexemes. Here we have explanation of lexemes. Lexemes can be thought of as families of words that differ only in their grammatical endings or grammatical forms. So we have, on the one hand, we have lexeme. You can find lexemes in dictionary, which is knowledge of a language. So lexemes are those words that is knowledge of a language. And we can find lexemes in dictionary. They are regardless of grammatical ending. So then we have also word and their grammatical form. For example, form of words like walk, walks, walked, and walking. So we have walk, that is lexeme. And then we have grammatical form of a walk, that is walk and walks with singular third person pronoun. And then we have walked, that is past tense, and walking, that is present participle. So different form of a pronoun I, me, my, and mine each represent a single lexeme. So these all, if there is I, me, my, mine, they represent a single lexeme. One way of thinking about lexeme is that they are the basis of dictionary entry. So we can find lexeme in dictionary. Dictionaries typically have a single entry for each lexeme. So if we are counting lexemes in the sentence above, we would count class and classes, walk and walking, I and my, and are and we as single lexeme in the sentence. Then we then has 16 lexeme. Then we have 16 lexeme in that example. How? Let's count. If we focus and take word as lexeme, then we have 16 lexemes in this sentence. How? For example, walk and walking, they are considered as a single lexeme because walking is taken from the word walk, right? Similarly, we have another example, class and classes. So class and classes are considered as a single lexeme. Classes is the plural of class, right? So that is considered as single lexeme. Similarly, my and I, both are pronoun, right? So my and I are considered as single lexeme. And are and we are considered as single lexeme. So then you minus 4 more words, so then remain how many? 16. So as a lexeme, we have 16 lexeme in this sentence. And as a word types, we have 20 types of word in this sentence. And as a word tokens, we have 21 words in this sentence. So word tokens, when we count individual word regardless how many times it occurs, that is called word token. And if we remove repetition, right, then we will just talk about word types. How many different types of words are used there? Then we have 20 types of word. And if we consider word as a lexeme, right, which is the basis of dictionary, and we can find in dictionary lexeme, then we have how many? We have 16 lexeme in this sentence, right? So thank you so much. It was all about what is morphology, what is morpheme. We talk about word and we define word, and we also talk about the problems and the definition of a word. We also discuss simple words and complex word. And finally, we talk about word as lexeme and word as token and word as type. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. Thank you so much.